Katata Tiago Kakali Gabadon 4-star safety rating. Nyata Tiago, Bachangan Kalikawan Jongpi, Nyata Tiago, Nakabanta Jinshangan Kalongi Jongpi, one Chakafang Motors Halat Korban Test Drive Menta.
The all-new Tiago. It's seriously fun.
Sachin pilot bade wemele barhak jo kapor ubalong tengru menteri berim hak sorgar kme ulong bagadak pau pen Ryngkew jong kecing bam Larkam jong ke parti BJP kabron hak bor Delhi berkumjo hapkum ke parti senrop hak sorgar MDA hangne hapo Meghalaya habakran bakila patai Khubor menta kesinya nong ba Shillong Sachin pilot ulakam bagata ke sorgar double engine kum balakam yaka kam shimlala satya bagan telakam yaka Ryngkew dor jong ke marbam ke jing yai kharoi jong ke jing bam yokam jam habede berkini Sachin pilot labo yodak jingli kai kabakanglat yaki nagamda banseng yaki karkhana kislam shna jingshna kibala banlong kum kislam ban penkaro yakalat ban penyo kam penyo jam ande Sachin ulong ba kai kabala sham baju I yak BJP berke NPP kalong bagi khamshim kya tangkum no bagi nyo pan bat yakabor Ande Sachin pilot usngos kem bagi pait ba jong jylla Meghalaya kila sham baju I yakini ke baro par haka arp nyautrek unai rempang kin sa ai yakata karai ka bastar ke jongki Dolokata Sachin pilot long palada phaidi nakapor basanchar ka Congress Delhi par hangni hapo ke jylla Meghalaya ka sarkar ka juile ban pen orlong yaki jingkular pat yakani ka nongrem ban pen troikam hok yaki jingkular Sachin pilot ulong baka party Congress kandang yai beteng pat kan leru yaka nang ni chakman haba phai sa kijing penyang yaki kertong hakani ka kinti ka bamenta Sachin pilot ulakam bahagani ka kinti ka Congress klaile karbala bansai de ki kertong gebrang thamai ka bakan thop langru yaki kintai haka bahagani ka kunhun ka batmai hapo ka jinglam Vincent H Pala kan la panwanra yaka sarkar ka babha ka baskem haga po ka jylla.
We've had a previous government here in Meghalaya, which was also voted by the people of the state. But those parties that came together, promising and committing themselves to the development of the state, to provide jobs, economic development, growth, etc. Those same very people today are pulling in different directions, accusing each other of corruption. I think the people want to ask the question that for 5 years when we worked together as a team, at that point there were no concerns about the corrupt practices, about the allegations that we are seeing today. And I think this mass migration of elected representatives happening from one party to another party is something that doesn't argue very well for our polity. And this state is a wonderful, peace-loving, progressive state. People of Meghalaya are looking for a government, for a party that can actually hold everyone together. And I'm absolutely confident the way that the Congress party has given its candidates this time. In fact, I'm told this is the youngest ever candidate list in the history of Meghalaya. Congress party has deliberately given tickets to young men and women, qualified professionals who have conviction and principles, who are committed to the people, who will really usher in a new era for the state of Meghalaya. I'm told about 10 of our seats out of 60 we have given to women for the first time. So equal participation of young people, professionally qualified individuals and women, I think will reflect the true demography of the state. Potential that we have in the state has not been explored. I think every party, especially the last government, whether it's the BJP or the NPP or other partners, they were quite focused on how to politically realign themselves only to stay in power. The Congress, I think, is committed to enhancing the IT sector, the tourism sector, the economic growth, the investment, the job creation that young people in this city and this state are aspiring for. The BJP has been in government for the last 8.5 years in New Delhi. They had a government here. And the BJP always talks about this double engine sarkar. Well, they had the opportunity here where they had two governments and double engine. And yet, at the time of elections now, they have gone apart and are doing this finger pointing game. So the BJP stands totally exposed to my mind because while they were in government in Delhi and they had power here, they were not able to deliver to what the expectations were. And I think the expectations aren't something that cannot be fulfilled. But look at the way the issue of price rise and unemployment really has taken ground. The issue that we want to fight this election is on how the next 5 years can we curb inflation, create employment, And not just employment, young people who are qualified often are underemployed. So they're technically qualified, are graduates and postgraduates, but are getting jobs that are below what their qualification should get them. So it's underemployment, unemployment, lack of investment. What has stopped the government of India in the last 5 years while they were in power here to have more factories, more industry, more manufacturing happening here? That did not happen. So therefore, I am confident that Mr. Pala, Mr. Balaji, all our colleagues here in the state, we have a fresh team, we have fresh candidates, and this state has always had a leaning towards the Congress party. I dare say that most of the political leaders in the state, no matter where they are today, they have originally come from the Congress party, because it is Congress and our leaders in Delhi which actually had the commitment and the willpower to create a state and to name it in such a beautiful fashion. So the relationship between the Congress party and the state of Meghalaya is generational. It's been there for decades, and now is a time of reckoning where people have many options. As you know, there are many parties which are trying to spread their wings into the state. There are many parties which are playing a game of who can be the power broker in the end. But the Congress party's long history, long association, commitment and performance, the voters of the state are very well aware. Therefore, I am absolutely sure that our candidates, our manifesto, the way the Congress party has campaigned, we may not have the resources to match the BJP, for example, but we have the people's willingness, the support and the blessings of our voters. So I think we will do very well, and the next government will be formed as it will be a Congress government. And in other states also we are doing very well, whether it's Nagaland or Tripura. Next election will be in Karnataka, which is a large state. So the Congress party, I think, is well placed to perform very, very well in Meghalaya. And like I said, across regions, across age groups, across gender, the Congress party has a resonance which no other political party has. And I think Meghalaya is destined, and I hope that people will bless us on polling day and give our party a thumping majority. Congress is a party that has presence and good candidates across all 60 seats. And we are fighting to get a simple, clear majority. That's the aim. And I'm sure we'll achieve our aim.
But your political opponents are alleging that the Congress is a single ship. So what do you have to say?
Well, they can keep alleging, but I think the voters know best. It is very wrong in a democracy to prejudge what the people's wisdom is. I have full faith in the people of the state. I have full faith in our workers. And like I said, we have a new set of candidates who are fresh, young, talented, committed, principled individuals who will lead the state into a new era. Therefore, I have full faith in the voters, and I think they will give us their blessings on voting day.
Congress was in the ruling in the past, and what has Congress done then? And now, why do you think people should still give their trust to Congress?
This is a long list of what the Congress has done, right from creating the state, and initial years were quite challenging, but yet we had majority and we did whatever best we could do in the state, and people remember that. The question is the entire Northeast. Today, the kind of politics we are seeing, 10 years ago it was not like that. So people are aspirational, young people want to have a better future, and unfortunately those who have been in power here in Shillong for the last 5 years have not been able to deliver. Their internal bickering, their political ambitions got the better of them. So we are committing ourselves to our manifesto. We will deliver on whatever we promised, and those are issues that are important to the voter. And I can tell you that whatever we promise in our manifestos, whether it's Congress ruled states, like we have just won elections in Himachal Pradesh, and whatever we had promised in the first cabinet meeting of the state, we delivered on that. So Congress has a very long track record of commitment and delivery. Therefore, what we are doing is empowering people, and the state's resources must be given to the people who deserve it the most. If we give some financial help to women in a household, they run the house, they pay the bills, they know exactly how much support they need. Government of India has made things impossible to purchase. Look at the price of diesel, petrol, cooking gas, food items. It's never been like this before. The country is facing the highest unemployment ever recorded unemployment rate. These are all government figures. So therefore, on all these indices, the BJP and NDA government have actually failed in performance. They may be good on rhetoric, may be good on media management, on spending money, but on the ground delivery, the BJP has actually failed in its performance. The Congress has a different track record. I don't want to go into history, but Dr. Manmohan Singh's government and this government, if you compare, 140 million people were lifted out of poverty. And today what we're seeing in Government of India, BJP, is that the gap between rich and poor has become almost unscalable. It has become so much. So therefore, people understand, and people, whether it's Narega, right to education, right to health, right to information, all those rights, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and Dr. Manmohan Singh in Delhi were able to provide that. BJP is all about GST and demonetization and farm laws and so on and so forth. But here, this state, I think, will benefit if we have a Congress government. And I'm saying this as someone who has seen many governments and many chief ministers. The Congress is well placed. And I'll say again in the end that on voting day, despite all the considerations that our opponents may offer, the Congress party and its manifesto and its candidates will be a winning combination from. Well, I think the voters are very smart. They know who they're voting for. And the party ideology and the party is far more important. The people who have left, I think they can best answer what the reasons were. But we give them an opportunity, we give them a platform and a party symbol. And the voters elected them. Yet they choose to move. I think this also is an exposure of sorts that the people of the state will see. I don't want to comment on each individual, but I think generally as a party, as an ideology, Congress stands firm. People come and people go. But the state of Meghalaya, the people of the state are committed and I think are leaning towards the Congress party. People come, people go. In fact, a lot of the parties that are contesting elections here have all borrowed leaders from other parties. So the one that has stayed strong is the Congress party. Like I said, we can't match BJP. It has the electoral bonds are designed in such a way to help the incumbent, and majority of the money that comes for donations, in fact, if I'm not wrong, about 90% of the money goes to the BJP, and the BJP makes no bones about deploying the resources. But money alone, I think, cannot win elections. Here is a state where people have emotions, they have understanding of the cultural heritage, of the traditions of the state, who are committed and who are partners in their joy and sorrow. Those sentiments actually play a big role. And therefore, that's why I say that people who come now, I think even the Honorable Prime Minister is visiting here, I think the Home Minister is here. But what are they offering? Except for empty promises for the future. That begs the question that jab aap satta mein the for 8 years in Delhi and 5 years here, what did you do that time? So that question remains unanswered. All these flowery speeches and promise of the future is all well and good. But what about when you had the chance, when the opportunity? However you may have formed the government, but you had power. What did you do that time? And what happened to your partners that you were sharing power for 5 years and now suddenly you are accusing each other? It shows that it is pure, simple, selfish, power-centric game. Deploy resources, take on opponents when the time suits you, and then part ways when it doesn't suit you. And who's to say that post-election they will not realign again? No one is committing to that. I think even the BJP is not saying no to anybody. So this open-ended game of political maneuverability and buying and having people cross over, the state has seen enough of that. So I think that one stable, strong ideology is the Congress party, and therefore people will vote for our candidates.
Modi.
BJP. Because I'm done with the leaders who don't care. Now I want a leader who cares.
Wherever they come into power, they change the landscape of the state. Lada, Umudi, Ulak Ban Penrai, Yaka Gujarat, Kumjuk Hiru, Yaka Meghalaya, Ulak Ban Penrai.